Hey, Med Pro Dojo family, it's Sensei Tosh, and I'm super excited to have a brand new vendor spotlight for you. This week, it's going to be Brad and Julie Bolter with InteFusion. It's InteFusion LLC. They will help you with everything from revenue cycle management from the moment a person walks in the door to the end of the billing cycle when they're completed with their care plan. So if you're needing any help with revenue cycle management, billing, this is what they're experts in. Come take a listen and watch this interview. It's super fantastic, and we hope you benefit from that. So enjoy this interview, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to let them take the floor and just introduce themselves and tell us all about what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you, Natasha. Good morning. I am Julie Bolter. We are from InteFusion, medical insurance solutions company. And Brad and I are really excited to share some of our special tips and our experience to help providers maximize their reimbursement through insurance for all different types of medical services. So Brad, do you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll tell a little bit about our story.
Yes, thank you, Julie. Hello, I'm Brad Bolter. I'm CEO of InteFusion. And as Julie said, we are a medical billing solutions company. We have been in business for the past 21 years, and our passion and our mission is helping providers receive and create the resources to deliver the care that they know their patients deserve. And so that it influences everything that we do, and is the core and the fabric of how we approach our practices that we partner with.
Yeah. And I loved your guys' origin story. So share us a little bit about that. I know you said you started like 21 years ago. So tell us how you got started.
Yes, it actually goes back a little farther than that. My family, the Katke family, started Metagenics in our garage back in the late 70s. So we have a deep roots in functional medicine and a passion for health. And Brad and I met at Metagenics, and we were helping doctors incorporate nutritional and functional medicine into their practices. When I'll start the story and Brad can fill in. Brad came from a background of accounting and finance. He was an auditor at EY, and we had a passion for functional medicine. And there was a practice that Brad happened to identify in not such a fancy neighborhood that was very, very successful. And they had a medical biller that was really the key to their success. And she was very qualified in translating the language of the medical services, the functional medicine services, into the language of insurance. And their reimbursement was fantastic. They were successful because they had the financial resources to help patients get well and spend the time that they needed to take care of those patients. So Brad came home one day and said, Julie, if we're really going to help more people access this kind of care, we really have to start our own medical billing company. And we did that back in 2003, and 21 years later, here we are. And it's still our passion to help more patients get access to good, high quality healthcare where physicians, doctors, providers can spend the time that they need to spend, provide the services that they need to provide to help people get well and yet get paid for what they do. And so we have been fine-tuning this system for the last 21 years and have a proprietary approach. It's a 6-step operating system that we implement into practices, and it makes a humongous difference in the reimbursement and the success of the practice. Brad, do you want to add? Is there more you would like to add?
Yes. So what I could add, like if I had to distill it down, and again, what Julie alluded to is I am my formal training is in accounting and auditing. So I'm a detailed, I would even say innately inquisitive person, and that's blended with my passion. It started as a young boy in sports and fitness and health and wellness. And so those two things came together. And in my work in the 90s with practices across the country, and even specifically functional medicine practices or providers that wanted to do more, what I found, the two things, if I boiled it down, was they didn't have the time either to spend with the patients that was required, or they didn't have the money to hire the person, the modality, the machine, the treatment, etc. And what Julie touched on is I found a practice that somehow had that time and money. And my auditing, inquisitive, passionate approach was, how is this possible? How is this happening? And Julie touched on it. What was the essence or the backbone? And this was a practice with, dare I say, a big-hearted, but I would say very, I would say not mediocre, but an average practice, but a doctor that cared, nothing special to it. And they had that time, they had that money, and the backbone was understanding both the services that the provider's delivering and then appropriately interpreting that in claims to the insurance company. And thus they had the resources, the money to hire a person to spend the time, or they understood they could spend the time and grow the practice. And so there's three things as it relates to insurance that we've seen over the past 21 plus years. There's a lot of misinformation, myth wrapped up in a big bow of fear. And so what that does is it prevents practices from receiving all they could from insurance, and at times even drives a provider to go all cash. And what that does, it limits the reach in the community. It also limits the both the people and the care that you can deliver. And so when we remove that bow of fear, we dispel the myths and we get correct information. That's the core of what we do and how we interface with our clients and our providers.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the clients. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. About the clients in the clinics and types of practices that you guys serve.
That's a great question, Natasha. We actually, our primary model is MD and DO or PA and NP practices. We handle all different specialties, and we are very skilled, and our niche is doctors who are wanting to create a comprehensive integrative practice. So they want to add other services that, for example, nutritional counseling, PT, psychotherapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, IV therapy. It runs the gamut of all the integrative therapy services in a umbrella of a medical model. That's our niche.
I love that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I find that the biggest challenge that most practices have is the administrative burden of the medical billing process. And that's where InteFusion really solves that problem and helps with the systems from the time the patient walks in the office all the way till the claim is paid. And having an expert team that you can trust to correctly take the process from the time the patient walks in the door and get it done well is what allows the doctor to actually focus on patient care. And then he can do, or she can do her job, the providers can do their job taking care of patients, and a team of people who are expert in what they do can focus on the administrative part of the insurance reimbursement process.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, go ahead, Brad.
So I was going to add to that just the, because this question came up with a potential new client just recently. I really think our strength in our process is our specialty is literally identifying what's payable, what's being delivered. And so I like to say, like, our specialty is the next thing that you feel is important as a provider that you want to bring to bear in your practice. part of our process is we vet that out. We understand everything about it, how to communicate it, and really give a clear picture of this is the reimbursement, this is why. And a lot of that is not done. It's usually left up to the provider to figure it out. And a lot of, I would say, folks that are in our billing space, literally their job is they just hand the claim off that the provider sort of codes. And so as a provider, you don't have the time to vet it out with Medicare. And most billers don't take the time to understand the care. And so what happens is it's either not delivered or we charge the patient unnecessarily. And so more and more, we love if there's something new you want to bring into the practice, we're your people to figure out, is that reimbursable? Yes, no, how much, and help facilitate bringing that and implementing that into the practice.
Brad, share some of the things that are alternative or not traditional that you're seeing is that you are billing to insurance.
Great question, Natasha. I would say, what's interesting, even on that, is it falls in the alternative bucket, but it's sometimes very simple and straightforward. So it's medically necessary IV therapy is successfully covered. It can be joint injections. I'm trying to think, hormone pellet insertion, both men and women, are some of the I would say the top 3 areas that, again, there's the misinformation myth and the big bow of fear that leads practices to incorrectly believe that there's not coverage for those types of things.
Yeah. And then how much money do you guys think that people leave on the table because of those myths that haven't been busted, or just the ignorance? And I don't mean that in a negative way, is just the not knowing of something. How much money do you find people are leaving on the tables once you bring them onto your team?
Well, that's a great question. I would say this: when we engage with any practice, we guarantee a 20% increase right off the bat. And we've been doing this 21 years, and it's never been close to that. It's always more. So I would start there. And what I can say is there have been many times we've doubled the revenue in a practice. And I'm thinking of one of our most recent collaborations. We started with a practice in California, actually, in November. And from January through September of 2024, we've increased the practice 94%. And this is a practice that same location, same staff, changed nothing else. But that's an indication of just, again, the missed revenue and what's left when this isn't done in a precise, specific, excellent way.
Natasha, that 90% increase for that particular practice with no increase in expense or staff is equal to $287,000 more in the bank account in 2024 than 2023. So that's quite a huge increase in revenue for a practice.
Yeah, I love that. And
that. Sorry, there's a lot of high fives going around here with our team that works on that in that practice. And what I wanted to share is our name, InteFusion, is really 3 principles. We want to infuse the practice with the resources so that they can use it to grow. We want them to integrate these principles so that these systems are in play. And we want to do that under an umbrella of integrity. And so this is an example where, again, you can see with close to $300,000 more over the first 9 months, we've infused the practice with the resources, and it's about integrating these processes and really helping people. I mean, that's our bigger why, and that's, I'm sure, all of the providers out there, that's the, we have to be in business. You should be compensated and profitable, and but we do it from a deeper place of integrity and heart in helping those that need the help.
I love that. And that's what was so attractive for having you guys be part of what we're doing, because it's the heart of what we do things, our intention. And then everybody wins. The patient wins because they're getting the care that they need and want. You guys are getting most of that handled by insurance. You're helping with systems in the office to create more efficiency in that whole revenue cycle. And the difference of $200,000 is them paying off their student loans, investing in other things and growth and expansion for their practice. I love that. Many times what I hear is people go, oh, I just want to bring it in-house so I can save money. But what are you saving and what are you losing? So,
right. And that also affects, as the provider or practice owner, your bandwidth. That's also, which is another employee to manage, to motivate, to take care of. And we find that there is so much, usually it's, I want to bring it in-house. And if I may be so bold, it's out of fear or trust. And I would honor that there is, sometimes we get new clients, they've been hurt before, and so I understand the genesis of that. But when it's done and handled in the way that we do professionally, we find our clients, it's a relief. It's we take that whole component off their plate. They can trust it. And they have if they want it, a member of their inner circle to, again, our culture and my background is in accounting. So whether it's reporting, projecting, we get involved in that and love to do that. And so it's a win-win, so to speak.
I really feel like, just to add to that, Natasha, when you're able to have a team of people that this is all we do all day long is medical insurance billing. And so we have a team of experts who are digging into every little detail of all the claims that are being processed and how they're being paid and all the rules that are changing on a regular basis. And like I said earlier, we're taking an administrative burden off of the practice. When you bring that billing in, now you're handling all the questions that patients have regarding their bills, how the claims got processed. There's a tremendous, you're handling the cost of sending patients their statements for their portion and those types of things. So there's a lot of value that, and having a qualified team take that over, and a lot of expenses you reduce in your practice when you can outsource that and have a company like ours. We handle all the expense that is related to this entire process. So it actually saves the practice money in the long run. We really pay for ourselves.
Yeah. I agree. I love the testimonial you just shared, but me personally, with a client that is very near and dear to me, you guys were able to bring him in 17 grand. I think it was either last week or at the beginning of this week, which is phenomenal, because he's got stuck into another company that's just inundated with so many people. And I think too big for your britches, if you will, didn't have the manpower to do that stuff. So there's a lot still hanging out. And I do see that so much, is that we're delivering, or offices are delivering tons of services. They could be producing 3.4 million and collecting 1.8. So how much is still out there to be gotten? So I think that's where you guys come in with very, very meticulous and efficient systems to make it win. And that's why you guys have that guarantee of, we'll increase it by 20%, which I think is amazing. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
The 20%?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. There's the accounting systems of controls and the processes that we implement create a system of checks and balances that protect the practice. It protects when the provider walks in the treatment room, there's many services that are delivered, but the provider may not know what is billable and what is not. And so they lose revenue right there. And then it gets handed off to another person, the biller, who may or may not capture all of those services, or may, not successfully communicate it to the insurance company. So then you lose revenue there. And so by implementing the correct systems of checks and balances from the moment the patient is face-to-face with the provider in the treatment room all the way through the end of the process. That's where we are not only helping the doctors to expand the services that they can render and bill to insurance, but the quality of the reimbursement for each one of those encounters, because of this communication and the systems of checks and balances, so nothing is falling through the cracks. And that's where it creates magic, because we pay attention to all the little details that other people don't have the time to do or don't care enough to do.
Right. So I know we've covered a lot today, but let's whittle it down to like 3 things when a person's like hearing this, and they go, maybe I need them, maybe I don't know. It sounds like it is, but what are 3 things? Like, if this, or this, then we could help you. What would you say, getting it down to these 3 things, and that person knows that they know that they need to give you guys a call?
Great. I tend to be like, I feel there's 100 things that we do, and I literally think there's nobody we cannot help. But if I'm being forced to distill it down, I would say, if number one, if you're a provider and you just have the inkling, you suspect I should be getting paid more for this, like, we can help you. Like, if that is on your radar, yes. And I would say then the other 2 specific things, whether you go with us or you leave this cast, I would say really be aware of, because what Julie alluded to previously is that treatment door closes and you may be delivering 7 reimbursable items, and you may be only communicating 4 of those to your biller, and then your biller may be billing 2 of those and imprecise. And so if your AR is growing, if you have denied claims, that's an indication. So if you feel like you're not getting paid what you're worth, if your AR is growing, and you just again, do an inventory of, if you're the kind of provider that's giving a lot and doing a lot, you should be paid commensurate with that, what you're giving.
I love that. All right. So if our members see this, or anybody who sees this, whether they're our members or not, how can they get in touch with you? And what's your website?
The website is InteFusionLLC.com. And I can share with you our telephone number at the office is 949-716-6829.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to have all of that along with this recording, and we'll put some stuff on our social media for you guys. But I really, really appreciate it. I'm super excited to get more of our clients going in your direction. And any final words or anything else that you guys like to say before we end it off today?
I can add one thing, as I would say, if you are billing from your chart note from a code that you have had to code yourself, you're missing revenue. And if your biller has not sat in the treatment room with you or interviewed you with all the services you're rendering, you're missing revenue. And that's something that you should request or require.
Okay.
We're here to help.
Thank you so much, Julie and Brad.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Natasha.
All right.
So great to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a blessed day, guys.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.